unfortunate for him. I'm just teasing. He's an old friend of the show. Senator Perdue from the great state of Georgia. Senator, great to talk to you. We saw you there yesterday. I was sitting in the cheap seat.
You didn't get to speak. Yeah, it's a great day for Americans, for people who work with their hands in this country, for sure.
Let's talk about the fact, in my view, and I think you've always been kind of a conservative populist, going back to when you were running for Senate the first time, and you were one of the first people to sign our FAIR pledge on immigration enforcement, and you were a real leader on that issue. And now, watching that celebration on the South Lawn yesterday, Senator, it struck me that the Republican Party, the establishment in the Republican Party, has stepped closer and closer to Donald Trump. I mean, they've moved toward him. He hasn't moved toward their more establishment views, in my understanding.
Well, Laura, you've said this all year, and I have too, that the Washington establishment does not know what to do with Donald Trump. He comes from another world, like I do. But look at the results, and I think that's what's happening is that people are beginning to see the results, Laura. 2 million new jobs this year, 860 regulations reversed, illegal crossing of the southern border down over 50%, 500 people fired at the VA, 300 people fired at Department of Education, consumer confidence, 16-year. Look, I can do this all day. But people in the Republican Party are now seeing that these conservative principles actually do work. And I think that's the key right now is that we get closer and we start driving behind our agenda. This president has a plan for our country that I think will bring us back to dominance and leadership again.
When I listened to the diatribes on the left, I mean, they're pulling out all the stops. It's going to just one big giveaway to the rich. It's people last night on my show, a young gentleman from the Center for American Progress started saying that, well, people are going to die. They're going to die. And he was focusing, I guess, mostly on the Obamacare repeal. But so now they've gone from it's a giveaway to the rich to people are going to die.
Well, it's tragic. The disinformation is a huge disservice to the average American. And what I hear the other side doing, that they know that their big government programs have all failed, Laura, from the Great Society's war on poverty all the way to Obamacare. I mean, look at the Postal Service, the VA, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, Amtrak. I mean, my goodness, they can't name a big, sweeping government program that works. So what they're doing here is providing for the last several weeks huge disinformation. If you want to know why this bill is unpopular, according to these liberal polls, it's partly because the only feedback people are getting out there are these lies, basically. I heard Schumer say yesterday or 2 days ago that 83% of these benefits go to the top 1%. There's no way you can do the math to get that. Let me give you an example, Laura. A median income family of 4 is going to get a 60% tax cut. A median income family or a single mom at making $41,000 is going to get a 75% tax cut. I mean, this is real. We took 6 million people off the rolls. So this is going to be felt starting, and I believe in February, like the Vice President just said, and I think they're going to see it in their paycheck all year.
Senator Perdue, one thing that I'm keeping my eye on in January is what I'm hearing from Jeff Flake, a man who's at 18% approval in his home state, chose not to run for re-election as a result. And he has cooked up a bipartisan deal, he's saying, on DACA. When I hear bipartisan deal on DACA coming from Jeff Flake, I don't get a thrill up my leg. I get a chill running down my spine. What do you know about this, and how do we mobilize? Because I'm telling you, this is not going to go down well with the base. If they try to ram through some amnesty with the promise of some enforcement that's hazy at best, there's going to be real trouble for this administration and for the Republicans.
I'll tell you this. I spoke with the president just this week on this, Laura. There is no give in this on the president's part. The president has said all along that any solution to DACA has got to include border security, including the wall, and an end to chain migration. Now, you've talked about chain migration. We all know what that is. But we know we just had 2 terrorist attacks directly attributable to this outrageous diversity lottery, which is part of the fix that Tom Cotton and I have put forward in our RAISE Act. But I believe that this president is going to show leadership in this immigration thing in January, just the way he did on NATO and on tax.
Well, he better, because the RAISE Act should be part. I mean, nothing should happen without the RAISE Act. I think the entire RAISE Act has to be, you have to cut the legal immigration by half. We don't need all these low-skilled workers in the country. We have to end chain migration, and I mean end it. So only adult children of green card holders cannot come in, only minor children and spouses. No abuela, abuelo, primo, none. You can't. That's got to end. The nephews, the grandnieces, they're all coming in. That has to stop. And I'm telling you, I am very concerned because Jeff Flake will never agree to the RAISE Act. Never, ever, ever. And he's going to try to sweet talk this president, a man who didn't even vote for him, who trashed him in his book. And I will just not stand for that. I trust you and Cotton on this. I do not trust these other people. I just don't. I'm sorry.
Well, I trust the president on this because I know his heart. He knows what the right thing to do to protect America is, and that's to put the end to chain migration and in this diversity lottery. So you'll hear a lot of rhetoric in the media by those who are going to try to solve DACA alone and do it independently. And that's a little bit about what this rhetoric was about this week. We got tax done. Let's celebrate that. Going into January, we're going to do everything we can to end this chain migration because it really is an insidious thing. You know, over 70% of Americans believe that any immigrant family coming in should be limited to the worker and the immediate family of minor children and the wife or the spouse. So, I mean, 70%. Find another issue where 70% of America, Laura, agrees.
Well, but chain migration is a must, but what about the rest of the RAISE Act? What about all the other things that are in it?
We're holding out to go all the way to RAISE because what we're doing right now, we're losing competitiveness with the rest of the world. Look, if you get this economy going, one of the things you have to do is you have to be a brain sink from the rest of the world to get the best and brightest of the world to come to America like they always did up until the 90s. And so this is what the RAISE Act will do. Canada and Australia have proven that works. And listen, they're no bastion of conservatism. It's just that they recognize from an economic point of view that you've got to go attract the best and brightest. And that's what the RAISE Act would do by having a merit-based immigration system.
So you got a pledge from the president that he would not go for any clean DACA fix?
Well, he said that publicly over and over. Yeah, I mean, this president doesn't get pledges, but what he said is any fix to DACA has got to include an interchain migration in the wall. And I just talked to him this week about it, and he is adamant about that.
No, I hope so, because I don't know. If I hear Jeff Flake working with the Democrats, that does not give me a good feeling. And I mean, other than you, I guess keep going. Other than you and Cotton and a few members of Congress, there's just every time they try to do this immigration stuff, it backfires on the Republicans. I mean, and you know, I'm worried. It's 800,000 new Democrat voters, by the way, and you do the math on that. How does that work out for the Republican Party in the future? That's what I'm concerned about as well.
Laura, thank you. You've been such a stalwart on this, but you know, I think you're going to hear the common conversation that has failed 3 times in the last 11 years on this immigration fix. They broaden it to be comprehensive. They want an immediate fix for the DACA kids without any other gifts. So, you know, there are a few people in the Republican Party that try to solve the Democrat negotiating position for them, and that's just not the way this president operates, not the way I operate.
How many votes do you need, though, Senator? How many votes? I mean, this is going to be not a budget process. This is going to be a regular piece of legislation, meaning the Democrats can try to filibuster, correct? The cloture and the number, the 60-vote thing, how do you work that?
You're going to have 60 votes, so you're going to have to meet some of the needs of the other side. Now, look, that doesn't mean you just solve their problem alone. You've got to look, the major issue here is the security of America and the economic future. And if you don't end chain migration, there's no way you're going to, with a wall or without the wall, you're not going to ensure the security of America. And that's what this president keeps saying over and over again.
Senate, with the Democrats agreeing to this, I don't know. I don't mean to stick on this issue because there's so many great things that have happened, but I'm concerned. When Jeff Flake should not have any part of this process. He has no constituency, and he's on the edge of the Republican Party, almost a Democrat. I don't understand why Jeff Flake has any credibility on this issue whatsoever. And I think the president follows him right off a cliff. I mean, that goes right off a cliff. He sticks with Jeff Flake. That man is completely out to lunch. I'm sorry. I know it's one of your colleagues, but no can do Jeff Flake. All right, Senator Perdue, give us a Georgia tradition. What are you going to do on Christmas? And we asked Mike Pence this yesterday, and he said we're going to gather around the tree, which is fine. But I need more than that. I want a Georgia tradition that either from your childhood that you remember, or something that you do with your family that's just special for Christmas.
Well, I grew up working on my family farms, and my grandparents always had the entire family there, which were close, and we'd have 50, 60 people. We just did this at Thanksgiving, so, you know, great pecan pie. I just remember that from my childhood, and we've got cousins now that do that. So we'll have a big family tradition, and we cherish our grandchildren and the new addition. So it's a blessed time in our country right now. I believe we have a president that's breaking eggs here in Washington and is going to get us back to these founding principles, Laura. There are going to be some fights in here, but I think we've got a guy that is providing leadership right now, getting us reengaged in the world and getting this economy going again. It's a blessing.
Senator David Perdue, it's always so much fun to have you on. Have a Merry Christmas with your... Do you have one grandchild or more than one?
We have three personally, but in our extended family, we've got a bucket load, so it'll be a lot of fun.
That's the best. It makes you smile. Grandkids are the best. I can tell you, my brother likes his grandkids better than he likes his kids. No, I mean practically. I mean, it's enjoyable when you can. It's fun for a while, and then you can go back and relax. It's just good for you. And Sarah Sanders says she's going to send over a pecan pie to you, so you'll be all
great.
Set.
I'll be looking for it. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Senator. You take care. We'll take a break on the Laura Ingraham Show. 855.